Romania, a land of misty mountains, dense forests, and medieval villages, is home to some of the most chilling folklore in Europe. While many know of Count Dracula, a legend that has captivated imaginations worldwide, fewer are familiar with an even older, darker creature in Romanian mythology, the Strigoi. These restless spirits are said to rise from their graves, haunting villages and feeding on the life force of the living. Unlike the modern vampire, the Strigoi are steeped in history and superstition, born from deep-rooted fears of the undead. This is the story of the Strigoi.
In the heart of Romania, nestled in the shadows of ancient mountains, lay a quiet village. Here the people lived by simple routines and traditions, stories of the Strigoi only a whispered legend. Until now. Strange happenings had begun to stir, shadows moving in the night, eerie wails carried by the wind. The village awakened, fearful and uncertain, as an ancient curse seemed to take hold once more. Fear gripped the village as one by one, people began falling ill, weakened and pale, their eyes sunken. No medicine could cure them, and the villagers whispered of a Strigoi. Only Elena, a woman brave beyond her years, dared to question the origin of the sickness, convinced that something unnatural was at play. Determined to save her people, Elena sought the guidance of Father Andre, an elderly priest known for his wisdom and knowledge of ancient rites. In the dim candlelight of the church, the priest recounted the ancient tales, revealing the lore of the Strigoi, spirits of the restless dead, bound to feed upon the living. The village gathered under the priest's guidance. Armed with garlic, blessed amulets, and wooden stakes, they prepared to confront the Strigoi. The shadows of the forest seeming to close in tighter with each passing night. Elena and Father Andre stood resolute, knowing they faced more than a myth. They faced a horror that had haunted their ancestors. Under the cover of a blood-red moon, the Strigoi emerged, an ethereal, terrifying figure with glowing eyes and a hollowed, ghostly form. The villagers' weapons felt feeble against its unearthly presence. But with courage and an unbreakable resolve, Elena faced the creature. Her heartbeat steady, her aim true, with Father Andre's prayers ringing in the air. She drove the stake into the heart of the Strigoi, banishing it to the realm of shadows once more. As dawn broke, the village breathed a sigh of relief, though they knew the tale would linger. The Strigoi was gone, but as they returned to their lives, each villager held a new respect for the legends and a reminder that some shadows never truly fade.
Strigoi in Romanian mythology are troubled, restless spirits that are said to have risen from the grave, haunting villages and feeding on the life force of the living. Unlike the modern vampire, the Strigoi are steeped in history and superstition. Born from deep-rooted fears of the undead, they are attributed with the abilities to transform into an animal, become invisible, and to gain vitality from the blood of their victims. Bram Stoker's Dracula may be a modern interpretation of the Strigoi through their historic links with vampirism. The legend of the Strigoi has ancient roots, tracing back to the early Romanian folklore that flourished in rural villages. In these remote places, death and the supernatural intertwined seamlessly with everyday life. Villagers lived in close proximity to cemeteries, and many believed that spirits of the deceased didn't always rest peacefully. Some souls, they claimed, returned as Strigoi, evil beings that stalked the night, hungry for blood. The Strigoi were more than just spirits. These creatures represented fears of disease, plague, and unexplained deaths that could ravage a village overnight. Stories of restless spirits became explanations for these unknown terrors. Thus, the Strigoi evolved as both a symbol of bad omens and a very real threat to villagers. But what exactly is a Strigoi? In Romanian folklore, there are two types, the Strigoi viu and the Strigoi mort. The Strigoi viu are living individuals believed to possess dark powers. These people, often shunned by the community, were thought to practice black magic, travel at night, and turn into animals or invisible forms. Some tales even claimed that they could drain the life force of others. The Strigoi mort, however, are the ones that inspired true fear. These are the undead, those who return from their graves to prey on the living. These Strigoi are depicted as pale, gaunt figures, wandering through the night, seeking to drain life from their victims. They have the power to shapeshift, enter homes undetected, and most horrifyingly, they target their own families. Villagers were highly attuned to the signs that a Strigoi might be near. Sick livestock, failing crops, and unexplained illnesses in the family were all believed to be caused by these vengeful spirits. Tales tell of how villagers would keep garlic, holy water, or blessed iron tools around their homes to ward off Strigoi. However, if a villager passed away under suspicious circumstances, particularly if they were an outcast or someone rumored to possess the evil eye, they were at risk of becoming a Strigoi mort after death. Family members took every precaution to prevent this from happening. Bodies would be buried with stakes through their hearts, garlic stuffed in their mouths, or sometimes even decapitated to prevent them from returning. While most Strigoi stories are rooted in myth, Romania has documented cases where villages performed gruesome rituals on deceased bodies to prevent their return. In rural areas, Strigoi hunters would identify the graves of suspected Strigoi, dig up the body, and perform ancient rituals to ensure that it could never rise again. One such ritual involved removing the heart of the suspected Strigoi, driving a wooden stake through it, or even burning the body. Sometimes, villagers would exhume bodies multiple times if they believed the spirit was still restless. In some regions, it was customary to bury a Strigoi face down, so if they attempted to rise, they would dig themselves deeper into the earth. The legend of the Strigoi isn't merely an ancient story but remains very real to some Romanians. In 2004, in the village of Marotinu de Sus, a family believed that the spirit of a recently deceased relative, Petre Toma, was haunting them. The family experienced nightmares, illnesses, and inexplicable misfortunes, all attributed to his restless soul. Convinced that he had become a Strigoi, family members took matters into their own hands. They exhumed Toma's body, cut out his heart, burned it, and mixed the ashes with water as a potion to protect themselves. The act was illegal, and those involved faced prosecution, but their actions revealed how deeply the belief in Strigoi still runs in parts of Romania. To these villagers, the ritual wasn't merely superstition, it was a desperate, necessary action to protect their family and community from an unseen evil. Today, the legend of the Strigoi endures in Romanian culture, both as a symbol of the past and as a lingering fear. Villages that once performed Strigoi rituals now celebrate Halloween-like festivals to keep the spirit of the tales alive, mixing horror with tradition. The Strigoi have also inspired international literature, movies, and folklore. In Romania, however, the myth remains sacred, a reminder of the mysteries of death, life, and what lies between. Modern Romanians may not believe in the Strigoi as their ancestors did, but the legend lingers, a testament to the power of fear and tradition. As night falls over the Romanian countryside, the forests grow dark, and a sense of mystery returns. Perhaps the Strigoi are only stories, myths from a forgotten era. But to those who walk these ancient lands, the tales are more than just fiction. They are warnings from the past, reminders that some forces may never truly die, lying dormant, waiting in the shadows. The Strigoi may be legends, but as long as they live in memory, they continue to haunt Romania's villages, their stories whispered by firelight, warning each generation to respect the line between the living and the dead.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.